No,
That's us.
I'll just move over.
Good evening. You are live back with the crew. Hey guys, give me a 5x5 if you can hear us. We have a different microphone setup, so hopefully you can hear us. And it's this camera angle 5x5. Perfect, guys. Good deal. And less glare, I hope, in the background, and maybe some more smiling faces. A little bit of clutter back here, but just so you guys know, Elizabeth paints. These are her watercolors. She paints right back here, and
sometimes
she's also a big time poker player, by the way. Big time, I would say. So a lot of the books up there are poker books, in case you're trying to read those.
So you can see the autism. I needed 900 poker books to understand poker.
So, wow, look at everybody streaming in there. Good stuff.
And shout out RIP Doyle Brunson.
Doyle Brunson.
I love that poker player. So anyway, he passed at 89 years of age. He was going to be 90 this year. He's a very, 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 very famous poker player. And so, that was been with me this week. But
Doyle Brunson, famous, very famous poker player. Well, tonight is about XRP. Good evening. Thank you, you too, to everybody. Tonight is about XRP, as we know, Ripple, should we say, and what we're really talking about. And by the way, if you happen to be on this channel and you were hoping to see Cardano tonight, you're probably in the wrong spot. I'm just, guessing. But we are talking about the Ripple case. This is going to be something Elizabeth and I are going to do every Wednesday or Thursday night. We're going to be doing these live. It's a long time coming for Elizabeth to get up to speed with us. So, be careful and gentle with your words. She is my wife.
You're fine. You don't have to be gentle.
She has really thick skin, but
I deal with incarcerated persons, so I'm okay.
Yeah, but
they're not very kind.
It's very it's trying sometimes when I see people and they bring their spouse or their friends on, and then people get offended and people get all wound up because maybe she said something that's a lot more realistic than some other attorney or some other people have said, because she's very right across the board, guys. She's not going to be a fan club member. She's not, hating on Ripple or loving on Ripple. She's going to give us that perspective that I'm not seeing around the rest of the YouTube very much, because everybody's rah, let's get the, pom-poms out and we're all going to win this thing as a slam dunk. Well, she comes in this space with fresh perspective and view, and she's been in big, heavy trials like this. So she understands who these players are. She understands who the DA is, SEC in this case, who the judge is, what kind of scrutiny the judge is under, the pressures she has. And me personally, I happen to know, I've learned over the years, when you're in the Southern District of New York, well, let's just say that there's a C word that ends with ruption that happens, in my opinion, in that courtroom or that area more than anywhere else I've ever heard. So my opinion only, that's just my take on that courtroom and what happens in that district.
That is your take.
That is only my take, not Elizabeth's take.
I've never litigated against the SEC, not 100% full disclosure. I have never litigated before the SEC, but I look at them as prosecutors. I think they have prosecutor mindset, and even though they're in civil court, but they do have that flavor to me whenever I'm reading or getting a feel for the case.
And many of you might remember a video I did probably, 8-9 months ago, something like that, in which I was a defendant. I was actually defended by the SEC. And that's a whole nother long show or story. That's nothing about this. But I actually worked with a couple of SEC attorneys, and That's a long story. We're not getting into that tonight, but we will over time. I will talk more about it because it was really fascinating and I learned a lot about the SEC and the way they operate. But at the time I was a broker, and that was many moons ago. All right. So again, I'm going to introduce my lovely and talented wife, Elizabeth Camo, who is a member of the Staple crew, although her last name is non-Staple. But she is, we've been together 18 years, something like that. Feels like a week, maybe a month. I don't know.
I got to do the math. I have to put it in the calculator.
But we've been together a while. But
we're not big on the celebrations.
No, but we are best friends. And thank God I have Elizabeth in my life. And I'm so fortunate to have her. So Elizabeth, we did get some questions.
Oh, we did?
And we had a couple that we're looking at on the screen, and I'm going to go ahead and read those. And you've discovered a couple of things that you really want to share with us that you thought was pretty pertinent to the whole space.
I mean, just in general, I wanted to remember to shout out to everybody who made it early, and then I'll get moving.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Jody, did you change your name, Jody? I don't know.
Jody's in the house.
Northern Living, Crypto Nerd.
Of course, Northern Living's in there. Hey,
Landon. Batiar Suleiman, men, morning here. The timing is to accommodate my schedule. I just can't do weekends, and I have to do my own practice during the day, during the weekdays. So we had to go with like evenings, Wednesday, Thursdays. And sorry, am I blocking you?
No.
Okay. I don't have the mic anymore, so it's not going to affect the volume.
Right. Yeah, you can scoot back.
Crypto AI, I can't see though. Sorry, I'm old lady.
Crypto AI's in the house.
Ron Wood, Rye guy.
Yep.
MKP, Dewey X. I know XRP guy was waiting. What's his name? But I can't see him now. Walking into the slave system. Not walking into. We've been walking.
Yeah.
In.
By the way, that kind of content. Keep going, Elizabeth, and I'll talk over.
Stephen McCoy, Carl Bruss.
Brent and I are going to do a really fun. Anybody that saw the show today, I talked a little bit about it. Brent and I are going to do at least a weekly, if not twice a week, and it's going to be lengthy. It's going to be fun because I have stories from all over the world, essentially, and I have stories from billionaires and people that we call the elite, and you would call them the enemy, and I would call them my friends in some cases, and the enemy in other cases. And all of those stories and all those background stories Brent and I are going to talk about. We're going to talk about how they move money, how they save money, how they spend money, how they work for you, how they don't work for you, how they corrupt government, how they don't corrupt government, how they manipulate markets, how they blow bubbles in markets, how they change the way government sees banking annually. That's not a thing they created 50 years ago. This evolves and it continues to happen. All of that I can talk about more freely in Patreon is where we're going to be heading. Guys, don't panic. We're going to make it very reasonably priced. I think we're going to start as low as $1. You can get our content, but there's so many things I can't say in YouTube. In particular, you understand who I'm talking about. We're talking about people that work for people that own some of the largest corporations in the world. They have a lot of attorneys. They have a lot of power. They also have government officials and people. And I have worked with people to where we had, let's just say, 3-letter agents check me out, background check, and check me, search me almost nightly on my own boat. So I don't want to piss those people off, if you understand what I'm talking about, because I kind of like where my neck and my head is attached. So I don't want to play that game. And I'd like to do that on Patreon. And by the way, anything you guys give to us is a donation. It donates this farm. It's going to help feed people and pay for maybe some expenses on this farm. So just full disclosure on that. That's why we're doing it, to help others as much as we've been blessed and help and have you have an avenue to help others as well.
Right. And
So
people got upset with Allan because he did the farming video, and then sort of he kind of alienated some people because, you know, and we talked about this before, and we might share it later, but we do have critically endangered pigs on our property. There's only 500 on the whole in the US, so we have 40 of them. But
we have 40 of something there's only 500 of.
I don't want to miss anybody. Andrew, Davey.
Andrew Gonzalez.
I know you were talking, a question was here about timing. I've been trying to give you some timing as I go without making predictions, because you can get, if you want predictions, I can send you to a lot of channels that'll give you predictions, like they'll say March 2023, and which is fine. They are trying. Should the SEC be prosecuted? It's never gonna happen. Becky, Northern Living,
the SEC will not be prosecuted for any wrongdoings.
They have immunity. Allan and I argued about that, but they
just won't.
They have a lot of immunities.
I'd like to see it happen, unless there's a complete, total government regime change, and I mean starting from going all the way back to our Constitution.
Buy more silver and gold.
Yeah.
Okay. Alienated.
Definitely buy silver and gold.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you would like to.
I totally get it. Okay. So
get through anything. Trying.
I know people are waiting.
Yeah, let's talk about
I just kind of wanted to show you what I've been working on.
Crypto AI.
My Spanish lessons are taking a back seat right now. But anyway, I'm trying to catch up.
Some light reading.
A little light reading. I have been trying to catch up. It's the same as I don't know why I need 20 different kinds of Bibles, but whatever. That's what I do. So I go down one rabbit hole, and then somebody mentions something in the pleading, and I go, oh, well, they keep mentioning this thing. So I've been trying to read, and then Coinbase came out with their thing, and then everybody's got their spin on Coinbase, and then the Hinman thing came out, and I've got my own impressions about that as well. We were deep diving into the expert witnesses. I kept going on that. With respect to the expert witnesses, I made charts. Oh, I went a little nutty, but I made charts.
We donate pork.
SEC experts, and then the defense experts. I kind of matched them side by side, and I wanted to see like a bird's eye view of what was left of the case, because I know I've been going through it and everything. So I actually kind of made this rough chart. So I thought I want to share with you about this, because it gave me an overall picture of, what's left. And then today,
this is a really neat graph that she laid out for me, for laymen like us.
Kind of laymen.
And it was really interesting the way she laid both sides out. She read hundreds of pages to make that happen, and it was really neat, and it really cleared my mind on what's happening.
And then I made this thing today, small confession, somewhat during my client's parole hearing. I was doing it somewhat during the deliberations, but I was paying attention to my client's case. But I did this thing where I took, remember I kept saying, I keep getting the sense that it's going to trial, and now I see on other channels that yes, some people are saying certain issues are going to trial and so forth. And I said I wanted to back it up. I didn't want to just sort of pluck from air, but everywhere where the judge mentioned trier of fact, that's for a jury, that goes to wait. What are some other things? That's for the fact finder. That's for trial. You can ask that at trial. Everywhere she mentioned that, I put in here under each expert, every expert she mentioned under for SEC, that type of comment. And then every expert for the defense, except for two, she mentioned something along that nature. And so I plucked in what issues were there. And I thought, again, together, we can kind of read the tea leaves together. I'm just the one that's crazy enough to try and sort through the 800 item, the the PACER dockets. There's 819 docket entries, some of which I can't access, but it's a lot. So when there's one thing, I go and digging and then I print it. I print whatever. I'm old school, but so I made this. So there's a couple of things that if we can get to them and you guys are still interested, I'm going to go through as much as I can. Maybe I'll just get a general sense if you want to go through the final 6 experts that where we left off, or would you like to just kind of go to the side-by-side comparison or this? In general, I don't know, because I've done so much stuff. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about also my Becky, I just studied the fair notice defense today while I threw the ball for the dog. And I have a lot of impressions about that as well. So I think
why don't you get to that and I'll answer a couple of these ones they want answered.
Can't, I'm not gonna, go ahead and answer.
Well, they're not related to that.
Go for it, but I'm not gonna talk over you.
No. Well, I thought you were gonna look for something.
No, I don't need to look for it.
Oh, okay.
No,
go ahead.
I don't need to look for it. I can't, if you want to do a live stream for 13 hours and really get into this, the heart of things, we can do that. I watched this poker stream one time where someone was accused of cheating with a Jack 4, and I listened to a poker stream on that live stream on YouTube for 13 hours. If you want to do that, we can do that. Most people don't want to do that. So I have to pick and choose what information I can share with you. I'm not a soundbite person, so it's hard for me to do that. And so I have to kind of pick. If I go in fair notice defense, that'll take an hour. If I go to Coinbase's thing, which is very interesting, and there's a letter opinion from this reporter that, man, she knocked it out of the park, I thought. But anyway, something I learned from the unsealing of the documents is why things were being, one of the reasons why the SEC wanted to redact the names of the experts. And I was saying, why would they do that? That's so weird. Because a bunch of morons went and threatened their witnesses, criminals, right? Don't need to do that. Don't do that. Don't think poorly of them. They're hired. They're people. They have families. Just because they pick a side that's not your side. And I'm not saying anybody in this group did it. I'm just saying that is why they had to ask for those to be redacted, because they were receiving threats. Moron, just dumb and criminal. Okay, so don't do that. I just felt really, I was like, now we can't look at it. The transparency goes poof. Of course, the judge is going to say redacted. And then the other thing I want to say is trusted sources. Deaton, Hogan, they've been reporting on this forever. Hogan's very, really, he brings a lot of levity to the situations. Deaton's a brilliant guy. If you want a lawyer on your side, Deaton's it. But he's full on Marine. Another guy that I really like, Fred Rispoli, very objective, very, very objective guy without the hype. So I really like him. The other thing is about the SEC saying, oh, the SEC lawyers are stupid and this and that. No, they're not. They're very, very intelligent people. They get paid to do their job. They're on their side of that side of the V is that side of the V. And when you're the prosecutor, you're not there helping the defendant make their case. And have they made conflicting arguments? Sure. But litigation is a fluid process. Somebody brings an argument and go, oh, shoot, we didn't figure that. So then well, we got an argument for that. We got an argument for this. And that's just the way litigation is. And even either Deaton or Hogan or somebody said, it's like a poker game. I go all in and you have to figure out to call me or whatever. So the other thing about Judge Torres is doing this and Judge Torres is doing that. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that Judge Torres has, like every other court, every other judge, has a legal department down the hall and her legal assistant that's helping. So they have a team probably of working on thousands of pages of documents, thousands of pages. And then I heard this thing where, and this is Deaton, and I don't want to criticize anybody, but I'm just saying, you just had, in terms of timing, when's the motion for summary judgment going to be decided? Now they say, well, she's not getting paid by Congress, or they're going to tattle on her to Congress because she didn't get it done by September. But they just filed a letter called a supplemental authority letter for the fair notice defense. And somebody asked me about that, saying, you know, we've got new authority. So the Ripple brought theirs, then the Security Exchange responded, and then Security Exchange, oh, wait, we found another case, and then they responded. That all happened April 13th. And she decided, I think, 2 huge motions in between September and today, or whenever, Monday or whenever it was. So to say that she's going to get punished because she hasn't met her deadline at September for not deciding this huge, very complex issue, I'm skeptical, and that's just a very loose opinion, but I haven't been able to find the rule. I have been trying to find it. I know there's a compatible rule in California. It's 90 days. You don't get paid at some marker. You don't get paid if you don't have your cases decided, or you have to file a declaration, but there's no exceptions to that. And again, they just filed additional stuff. She just filed this huge Hinman thing. Hinman docs have to be disclosed now, and SEC is going to try and.
So, okay, with the Hinman new that's just in the last day or two, as we all know.
Yeah.
How long is that going to take her to process something like that?
Well, according to, and I saw this online and I thought it was very good. Yes, cryptological. This is not her only case, you know, and she only has to work 8 to 5. I mean, she doesn't have to work day and night and bring thousands of pages of stuff home with her. But this, the Hinman thing, I saw on a couple of, I thought, reputable sources from Twitter, saying that there was a 21-day rule, and they showed a pleading. So I was satisfied that there was a pleading before that said, if I order this, it'll be 21 days. So is the SEC going to try and stop this? Of course they're going to stop this. Garlinghouse, sorry, said, you know, there's something juicy in there, and you're going to be just so, you know, shocked. And so you think the SEC just going to say, okay, roll, here you go, unredacted, everything's unredacted now? I don't know. There's a lot of juicy stuff in emails. You know, we all, like I heard, what's his name talking, Rispoli or whatever. It's like, who amongst us have not sent an email, maybe Allan, but that we drafted it all up, we're all pissed off, or some Facebook post and we're all pissed off, and then we draft it and send it, and then, you know, that gets printed out if you're in a lawsuit. So I just think that, I don't know, she's got a lot to decide. And does she have something drafted? Hogan thinks she's got something drafted. She, meaning the court and her team, have something drafted. So go ahead, Allan.
So, okay. Well, we had a few questions up there.
Okay.
We have no idea why Jeremy Hogan stopped this channel. That's been asked a few times. I don't know. I did a show when he stopped, and I was as sad as the rest of the people who watched
He's got little kids.
His material. He was brilliant. We loved his show. Elizabeth, to be completely fair, never saw his show until recently. I said, you know, maybe you should check his show out just to catch up. And his entertainment value is really good, obviously. They spent a lot of time. I know he had writers, and I know he had, you know, editors and all that kind of stuff. So it was a very professional show, and we all miss it, and we could really use him. Not to say he won't come back. Let's hope, right? I mean, let's hope we have something good. Those of you who went to the Vegas show, he did appear there, not in person, but, you know, he did
He's got little
show on
kids.
video.
I mean, it takes a long time to read all these documents. I mean, he still is reading it, but it's a lot easier to just go on Twitter and put his 2 cents in there after.
And they're both attorneys. They're busy people. Let's see. Somebody had a really good question.
Okay, find that, and then I'm going to keep going with some of the other questions. And so again, I wonder if the clock isn't reset on her, timing, and now she's going to have to deal with this, how much to redact of the Hinman thing and that thing. She's already ordered them to be disclosed and not attorney-client privilege. And
just so I can interject, I am reading all of your messages, guys.
Trying to.
They're hilarious, and there's good questions in there too.
Okay.
There's some funny stuff in there.
So,
and you're not being too cruel to the SEC, which is kind of, look, we all know who those people are. I mean, how many times are you going to say they're crooked? Yeah, I know who they are. Trust me, I worked for some really slippery people in my lifetime.
I mean, I've done
really slippery.
All prosecutors, everybody's got win at all costs. You don't think that Ripple's attorneys have a win at all cost mentality as well? Of course they do.
Yep.
The SEC lawyers want to win. And the other thing is, it's not personal. They just, the team of lawyers they hired, they said, okay, lawyer A, B, and C, here's your caseload. You're going to do this and you're going to do that. And they go for it. They're following orders. They're going to do their job. I think that we need to try not to take it as personally, but that's just my opinion. I've had to learn that over 20 years, more than 20 years of having prosecutors do shady shite. And
one night we'll get her to tell the JP Morgan story.
I mean, JP Morgan was not a prosecution, but it was a suit. But still, all of a sudden you're winning. And, Jeremy Hogan mentioned this in some of his videos, and it's he mentioned it, win the battles and lose the war. And that's what happened to me in JP Morgan Chase Bank. I thought I was flying high. I was winning all these motions. One thing about the Hinman,
3 years she spent on that case.
Somebody asked about fair notice, or someone asked about Hinman, and I said to Allan, I said, the way I read the judge's ruling is whether it's relevant or not, and I'm kind of, because I read this, I throw the ball for the dog and I read this stuff, so I try and digest, but whether it's relevant or not does not have anything to do with whether the public is entitled to access. And when you seal documents, you have to meet the 4 criteria, the 5 criteria, whatever. You have to argue that sealing is lawful and necessary. And so the judge is saying, everyone's on this bandwagon, oh, the Hinman, we're going to win the fair notice defense. And I'm thinking, well, if you didn't know what was in the emails, how does that have anything to do with fair notice? Now, I'm very ignorant. You should look to, again, Deaton, Rispoli, etc. for that. That's my impression is from the order is that she said, we, the public, are entitled to see it. There's no lawful reason for her to not reveal those documents.
Yeah. Melody's in the house. She, just so you guys know, Melody is our neighbor. She's one of our good friends' nieces, and she lives locally here. Manny Rodriguez. Hey, brother. He's back in. Midwest Kevin, Connor M, Alchemist. Becky's always in the house. I don't know where you get the time, girl, but love you. And gosh, who else is in there? Go Bruno, Cryptological.
Did you see Bruno?
Bruno showed up. Yeah, just for a second.
He just showed up for a second.
He's, like I've said, he's not even a ham. He's a whole hog, that dog. You turn a camera on and he's there. Boom. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I can't explain it.
He's there.
Yeah. I have a really cool XRP video coming out this week, by the way, guys. I shot it the other day and I love it. I don't normally like my videos that much, but this one I shot it and I was like, yes, that's what I was trying to say. So should be good.
Another thing I thought, well, I have a whole bunch of stuff on the Coinbase thing, maybe next week. I don't know how far we'll get, but I was thinking like if this goes to trial, and I had some other thoughts on that, but you know, they're saying that the issue's being divided between the post-secondary, just selling coins and then we all sell them to each other and whatever. But before that, there's a strong feeling that before that Ripple, is kind of maybe out to lunch on their argument there. That's not by me. That's just from the community that I've been reading on Twitter and the videos and things. And then there's this other fair notice thing. But I'm thinking, if you say I didn't get fair notice that it was a security, are you conceding it's a security? And then at what point? And so I was digging into that. The other thing I thought was, even though they challenged these experts, I suspect there's more experts that they just didn't challenge and they say are coming in. And the other thing is, what was weird on sorry, I'm all over the place, but I've been reading a lot. The expert witness or the redactions, the SEC actually moved to redact and not disclose some of the financial information on behalf of Ripple's agents. So I just thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Or not weird. I just, they did it. They said, oh, that's all private. We agree that's private. So
Digital Orgy, I agree with what you're saying about there, that you may know more about the case currently, but there's certain things that you and I have been told about the case that she's been trying to explain tonight. If you don't understand cases from her perspective, you're going to get blindsided by the fact that if you lose, you're just going to be standing there going, well, everything was in our favor and we knew all of this stuff. And how is it we lost? And then you're going to want to go out and wring somebody's neck. She's trying to give you a perspective of somebody coming fresh into this thing and looking at it from a person who's been there, who's been in the judge's quarters. And she has that knowledge of she looks at every word, every syllable of every sentence, and says, that doesn't mean this necessarily. That could mean this and this and that. And you and I only hear what maybe, John's heart is in it. Trust me, John Deaton is all in on this thing.
You want him as your lawyer.
You want that guy on your team. Of course, he is fighting for us, but his perspective may be jaded. And when you lose, you're going to be like, he's used to losing. John Deaton loses all the time. He loses probably more cases than he wins. And that's not insulting to an attorney. They lose all the time. But it's very difficult for you and I, because you and I don't understand law. We just don't. And we might think we do, and we might know what the evening news tells us about law. But when you listen to the stuff that I've heard her talk about for 18 years now, I thought I knew what law was. I used to watch Law and Order. I thought I knew what that stuff meant. You don't. And she's giving you a perspective of, hey guys, this could really be in your favor. That could really be against you. And Jeremy was really good at that. Like, hey, this is bad for us. This isn't good. And this is really good for us. And she's going to give an even more stringent view. And not all of us can take that angle.
Not all of us can take it.
Yeah.
And Digital Orgy, true, I may be confused. I'm only giving impressions based upon what I read. And like Allan said, I read every word. And so I just come away with an impression of something that might not resonate with the echo chamber, the choir, what do you call it? The choir or whatever. And that's true. But I could be way off base. I'm just giving you my impressions on what I'm reading, because a lot of times what you're getting, for the most part, some people are more thorough, like Fred, like I said, and stuff, are just sort of giving you the CNN style, what do you call it? The head note or whatever they call it, the 2-minute version, because they wanted 2 minutes. And then because people can't, that I learned from juries, when you have a jury trial, juries tune in for 7 seconds and tune out for about 20 minutes or something, and back in for 7 seconds and out for 20 minutes again. And we can't handle it. Why do you think YouTube's that are successful are only 10 minutes. And I said, well, I'd be willing to come on here and go and dissect this stuff and then give you an impression, but it's based on this. And so the Hinman thing at this point, I don't really know the connections between that and the fair notice defense yet, but the fair notice defense as it's been presented in the motions for summary judgment did not revolve around Hinman emails. So I studied that today, but I just said that I think the judge's ruling this time around had more to do with the public and us being entitled to it. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera.
The ruling this time around was?
Oh, that they have to be disclosed unredacted. The public has to be able to see them. So they're going to be put up on that website. So they already, the attorney-client privilege and all of that was already sorted out. And she said, no attorney-client privilege. Remember the whole June 7th thing where SEC brought some, I don't know, some new, not a new lawyer, but she said it and they all said, oh, she did a terrible job and this and that. But maybe she did, maybe she didn't.
Digital orgy, brother, you're going to have to try a whole lot harder than that to offend either one of us. You can't offend me.
No, I'm not
like
offended.
impossible.
I want to make sure I
We
always
love your comments.
qualify
Yeah.
my impressions based on, and I'm trying to do the fastest read I can. And I also thought I was,
And yes, Elizabeth is a badass.
I'm a, I don't know.
I mean, in so many ways.
I really don't know about
you guys don't even get to know her yet. I mean, wait till she settles down and really kind of gets into this stuff. She's a level of research and honesty that is so fresh that you've never seen anything like it. I'm just telling you, I met a lot of women in my life and I ended up with this one. So, I'm just saying, right?
I was thinking too, like once the summary judgment comes out, and somebody said June 6th up in the comments, and that's what I heard on, that's that 21 days from her order, 21 days from the order coming down last week, this week, 21 days from that is June 6th.
June 6th, yeah.
Is when the parties have to have everything sorted. Hogan said the SEC has 10 days to file some kind of a, stop, I don't like this, go to a higher court, maybe try again, motion for reconsideration or whatever, because they're obviously damaging, I guess. But the SEC, curiously enough, sorry to jump around, in their fair notice defense says there's not one single case where any judge has ruled that fair notice defense goes to a trial. Whether that's true, I need to look at their cases. The Ripple obviously has a different spin on their fair notice. Fair notice has been tried and it has not been successful thus far by other parties. So I just started reading that today. I don't have a good handle on it at all. The other thing I thought too about the motions for summary judgment, I'd like to backtrack because motions for summary judgment reveals everybody's pretty much their whole case. And so if she says that the issue of secondary sales is not a security, the getting the monies before to do the investments and try and build up the company is a security. If she says that and so on, then we could go back into the motions and we could really find out where they're going to come from. I don't know. People want to have predictions. If you really want predictions, this is what I did last night because I was so flummoxed. I'm like, I don't know, there's a lot going on. I decided to look up the judge's profile, her sign. So she's for anybody out there that's got any good information, I know this is going to be super solid on figuring out what's going on, but she's a Scorpio and she's born in the year of the pig, like Allan. So
I'm a pig.
If you know anything about pigs,
I'm not a pig.
They're very stubborn. They're very clever, but they can be tricked. And so that was that. So if anybody wants to, at this point, go back to the expert witnesses, and I had there's some really good expert witnesses. I'll go back there, either using my charts where I've digested everything down to really more salient points, or Coinbase, I have a really juicy letter, like I said, from the newspaper news journalist or whatever. Her letter was awesome. Okay, Northern Living, you're it.
Yeah.
We're going to go with Northern Living. You win. You win today.
Yeah. That's it. That's a great comment. Yeah. Watch her play poker sometime. You'll know what a good attorney she is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Melody, are you going to come and play poker? We hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hey, you're always welcome.
Bring your money. The other thing I just wanted to tell you guys too about the Patreon, I got a little bit of cold feet when Crypto Ari took my clips and started blasting it all over her channel. And then I was like, oh man, now I have to watch every word. And if I don't say something, I piss somebody off because it's something opposite. I don't want to do that. So,
but she was very respectful. Crypto Ari, if you didn't see the show she did on Elizabeth, it was really, I was very impressed.
Oh,
she could have really thrown us under the bus.
She could have thrown me under the bus. She could have done her little clip the comment like CNN and misrepresented what I said, but she didn't say that at all. She made sure to amplify or highlight the fact I said every sentence I say, put a question mark at the end, question everything. Don't take what I say as gospel. And she really did do that. For some reason, the fact that I said I think it's going to trial seemed interesting to her. But now I'm seeing more and more videos are saying it's going to trial on some of these issues. So
Sammy's in the house. Sammy Rodriguez. I wasn't sure you wanted me to use your last name. He's helped us so much recently with our solar system.
Yeah.
And I think we have it sorted. I really do. So that's really been fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to
so good to get have the people and the crew help you out. It's so cool. And Matt did the same. Matt's a HVAC guy. He helped me out a lot.
HVAC, yeah. What a mess we have on our hands.
We had kind of a tangled up mess, yeah.
So the charts
Part of living.
have, okay. Peter Adrian's, who is this? Peter Easton. That's where we left off. Peter Easton. I'm going to try and go faster because I did make notes, but of course, I don't know what happened to him.
Hope is always in the house. Well said, Steve. We've got a lot of hope going on this case, and there's a lot to hope for. And I think I'd have to say that we have more going for us, whether or not she rules against us or not, because they're going to fight it. And then, I know it's more time, but when you look in Brad Garlinghouse's eyes and he looks you square in the eye and he tells you, we're going to win this thing. I know he's not a lawyer. I know he's not a judge, but
he's a party to the action. So he
big
what
time.
Is he going to say?
Yeah.
Like if I get in the elevator with you and I'm telling you about a life without possibility parole case that I'm doing against very win at all costs prosecutors for a case where nobody even died. Okay. For a girl that's 18, am I going to tell you my case is shitty? The prosecutor, they got it right. She deserves everything she got. Of course I'm not. Am I going to tell you their point of view, why they're justified in doing it, cartel, blah, 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 No, I'm going to get on the elevator and going to go, we're going to win. I'm going to win. I'm right. Or I should win.
You would never say that as a lawyer. You would never say that.
Well, I paint the picture of the case in favor of my client. Do I tell you all the crappy stuff in the case? No, I kind of dart around it, right? And I just tell you all the stuff that supports my case. And so that's the elevator version that you get. Is Brad Garlinghouse going to get up there as the Ripple exec and say, oh yeah, our case is shitty. It's going down in flames.
No, but
no, he's not going to.
Nobody's not going to put his reputation on the line either. He would just play it middle of the road. Typically CEOs are just going to, I'll just play a safe road and I don't know. It's in the lawyer's hands. That's how most of them do it. And he wasn't that at all. He said, I'm convinced we'll take it as far as we need to go. Was his.
No, they're going to fight. But I'm just saying, as anybody, human nature, you're going to support yourself.
And like, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. That's just terrible. But you're absolutely correct. It doesn't, in the long run, it doesn't really matter because Ripple and XRP are going to succeed. I think we're up to, what are we at? Like 48 central banks now.
Yeah, and they
I
just
mean,
were at Dubai or somewhere getting a new deal struck there.
He was in Dubai and now he's in Europe, and he's traveling around and he's not messing around. And he has all these You guys know central banking system. Well, maybe you don't know central banking systems, but I do, and I study them. And that's really one of my passions, is understanding how that whole system and that network works. Well, when you have 47 of 100, how many nations are there? 210, something like that. If you have 40, we'll call it 50. I don't know. I think it's 50 central banks that are already signed on the Ripple network. It's laughable that you're not going to get another 50. And now you have half the central banks in the world. Trust me, they're stalling. They came after Ripple because they know what Ripple represents. And they know the bankers didn't want it, or they have other reasons that they are stalling. And we all know that. My opinion, not hers, not anyone else's. Just, but it's really important, guys. That's what this show's about. It's Elizabeth's perspective, because you and I all need to relearn this stuff. Because you and I, like she says all the time, you can brainwash yourself right into thinking one side of a case. All you have to do is watch a movie about a law case. And it's like, I know this guy's right. I know this guy's right. And okay, by the end of the movie, you're like, oh my God, the wrong person won. And all the evidence was going the other way. We all get caught into that confirmation bias, whatever you want to, yeah. And we say to ourselves, of course we're going to win. And you and I have not just money on the line. We have years of following this. We're 2.5 years into this case. What does that tell you about this thing? You and I are not going away anytime soon. This is our passion. This is our life. And this will succeed in our lifetime because of the group of people that we have in this space. In particular, the crew in the house. I know who you guys are. I see your posts. And we got the real deal here. So it's good fun.
And I was saying, like, you just think that everything's going one way for you in a case, like I did with JP Morgan Chase Bank. I got all the easy rule, all the rulings went my way for my case, for my client, kept going my way. And then I can't really say what happened. Again, I can't really say what happened because I can't disparage a judge or whatever, but not that I was going to disparage a judge. But anyway, somebody brought in the head of the JP Morgan Chase Bank law firm. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, they were in chambers. And the next thing I knew, I was losing everything. And then I got non-suited. So it was just weird. And so you get blindsided and everyone's like, oh, Judge Torres, this other thing, she's the people's judge. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Do not put her on a pedestal. She's a judge. She's supposed to be neutral and fair. And we hope she is. And I don't know that she isn't, but she is not a lawyer for Ripple. She's a judge.
Right. Jonah, I'm going to answer that real quick. Many people have asked me this question. It's a really good question. Is the WEF on Ripple's side? No. Okay. All right. It's just sort of like right? A Ferrari. The WEF likes Ferraris. Okay. The central bankers like Ferraris. The BIS likes Ferraris. Everybody does, right? It's a thing that they both are involved in. One side is not going to be able to eliminate the other side of using this token or this network. They're just not, okay? Both central banks and the WEF like the coin. That I don't have that under perfect authority, and I'm guessing to some degree, obviously, but everything leads me in that direction, that they don't want to live without it because they know it's the best technology that they can have. So when it's the best sports car, or when it's your best facility to use, or best token to trade with, it's the one both teams can agree they'll use. Hope I answered that. I've been asked that a million times.
They said we're a bit choppy.
Are we still choppy, guys?
I can't do anything. Oh, all audio is almost off. That's a Themis problem. Hang on 1 second.
Yep.
No, I'm here. What happens is everybody comes home from work and we live in the country, and then it doesn't matter what we do, it seems. I think it's just a
I could ship my
decision. Lost you in stream. Reboot, good on my end, all okay now. Yeah, something
Okay.
happens, it starts to cycle, and then it's about a couple of seconds, and then it can repair itself.
So I'll recap my answer
when
real
you
quick.
spoke about the left, it became choppy.
Exactly. That's happened before.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it real quick. They both see the technology. They both understand they can't fight it. They both understand what they're going to use of it. They're both trying to plan an alternate route to use to on-ramp and off-ramp and be the railroad tracks that we talk about that XRP will be in the banking system, because nobody wants to use one product. Nobody trusts one product. Russia is, even though they're in business together with China, they're not going to use the Chinese network. What we have going on right now, guys, is the globe is condensing into nationalism. And that's a bigger story for a different night. And that's the kind of content that I'll be going over with Brent. It's deep, it's juicy, it's crazy stuff, but it's stuff that I know a lot about. This has been my passion for 20 some odd years, learning that stuff. And the people I've met and the people I've worked for, and they've taught me a lot. So anyway, where were we on that?
Okay.
That's my answer.
I'm going to...
Both of them are going to use
I am going to try and
coins.
finish these experts tonight, so we can get to other things. But 51 minutes in, I don't think I'll get to all of them. I'm going to try my best, though. So Mr. Easton is an expert regarding... Do you like who, like knowing who they are? I don't know why I keep leaning in as if you can't hear me. I'm used to it because when I do my Zoom, my Microsoft Teams for the parole hearings, the commissioners always tell me to lean in and speak louder. Do you like knowing the credentials of the experts of the... Yes, Mama Lacey, yes. Okay, so I didn't get that. Peter Easton, I'm sorry, he's an expert for GAAP, the generally accepted accounting principles, and they brought him in to discuss Ripple and other companies holding cryptocurrencies. This goes to the IRS thing. Remember the last time the IRS, which we all thought was a really easy, simple witness for a jury to understand, Ripple and other companies holding cryptocurrencies, including XRP, account for those holdings as indefinite-lived intangible assets, and Ripple accounts for monetary and non-monetary sales of XRP as revenues. Available guidance, analogous U.S. generally accepted accounting principles and practices of other publicly traded companies are consistent with Ripple's accounting for XRP as an intangible asset and inconsistent with treating XRP as a security under GAAP. So those two witnesses kind of are complementary. Under GAAP, it would be improper for Ripple to account for sales and transactions involving XRP as the offer of sale of securities. And then
Steve, that is boiled down, believe it or not. That is the meat of what she dug out.
This is
what she just read.
I took 50 pages
and
I condensed it. So these are his opinions. So
in that last,
if you want summaries though, there is a ton of good content on YouTube that will summarize it. But unfortunately, I feel like they leave you with that echo chamber type impression instead of knowing what's going on.
I thought the last part of that was really important. I mean, okay, to me, to summarize that right there says, well, the IRS, or the way the IRS looks at this case, is pretty obvious what it is. Is it a security or is it not? Well, it's not. And according to the IRS, in the way that's written, the way I read it.
So
she's a lot more
Steve,
objective than
this
that.
is the judge's order. It's like 58 pages or whatever. And so that guy, I tried to condense as best I could. It's just lengthy stuff, but it was, and then on my expert witness one where I said the reason why I keep saying, why does she keep using language to say that we're going to trial on these issues? I want to qualify it that maybe she's just using that language because that's the language in the cases and that's how you analyze those experts. Maybe it means that, maybe it doesn't. But with respect to this witness, the judge said that, like Borden's testimony, who was the IRS guy, it's a specialized testimony that may assist a fact finder in resolving an issue in the case, whether transactions involving XRP displayed the essential characteristics of a security in the commercial world. So again, she's pointing back to fact finding, and fact finding is not the role of a judge in deciding a motion for summary judgment. Her role is to decide whether as a matter of law you win because the facts are not in dispute, or they're just so, the facts are so can't be disputed, really. You try to dispute them, but there's no dispute to be had.
I hope you understood what she just said there, because that's what you and I don't understand about what the judge's job is. And attorneys understand that. We think she's supposed to find the proof and the evidence of everything. That's not at all what she just said. And I hope you guys get that. I also want to thank the 88 likes. That's awesome. That percentage of how many people compared to how many people are watching is amazing. Thanks for the likes, guys.
I don't know why I wrote this. So then the next witness was a person called Yesha Yadav. And Yesha was, I know you wanted her credentials, and I didn't write that down. For me, I figured she was qualified, so I didn't put it down. But it's interesting to know who she is and who they're hiring. Vanderbilt Law School, I think that's a good one. And she teaches law school courses on securities regulation, corporate bankruptcy, market structure, financial markets, and financial innovation with a focus on digital financial technology. Sorry, my glasses, I can't see the tiny print because I printed it on double-sided with 2 pages on each. So Yesha, I'm going to summarize. I'm not going to go through, well, I can go through it if you want, but I tried to summarize it. Sorry for the glare, but I tried to, anything she struck out, I thought the strikeouts were interesting, so I just struck them out in case you guys wanted to know. But Yesha has, her opinions are that offers to buy and sell cryptocurrencies take place on an exchange and become binding trades as soon as they are matched within the books and records of the exchange in accordance with the rules of the exchange. What, in layperson's language, I go on whatever, Gemini, and I ask to buy some XRP, or I can exchange them via Exodus wallet or whatever. I guess that's what that means.
Yeah, that's what that means.
A trade becomes final on a cryptocurrency exchange as soon as an order to trade is matched with another order in accordance with the exchange's rules. So those are her 2 opinions. She threw out, I shouldn't say, the court, I'm going to try and get better at that because I've gotten bad habits on that. The court threw out her,
Mrs. Torres, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't call her that. It's not respectful for a lawyer to say that. But the court, which is the judge that you know her as Judge Torres, the court threw out the where did these exchanges take place. She wouldn't let that. She wouldn't let them know, like the domicile, the location of reference and things like that. And she threw it out because she said, I've already ruled on that. There's already a case that will show the jury, or instruct the jury, I'm sorry, on how to decide that issue. So she threw that out. Now, interestingly enough, SEC challenged where officers, I wrote this in hand, I'm sorry, of sale of XRP occurred with expert number 1, which was interesting. And Yesha Yadav.
Becky has a real quick question. Is that Ripple or SEC's witness?
Ripple. I'm on Ripple. All these are Ripple's experts. And Yesha, so really important witness, again, very important witness for the securities analysis. Yadav's, the SEC tried to throw the entire report out because she offered an improper and incorrect legal opinion. The court agreed with her in part and it disagreed in part for the reasons I told you. But again, this language about trying the case, the court agrees with defendants for 2 opinions are not legal opinions and that they are relevant because they, quote, concern market structural concepts central to how trading on cryptocurrency exchanges takes place, concepts with which the jury may be unfamiliar. Okay, so again, she's using that language, and as I said, she's used that language under every single expert but I think 2.
One of the things that strikes me in this case that's going to be very difficult if it is to go to trial is going to be, think about in the general public that you and I know of, how many people actually know what a cryptocurrency is, how it's bought, how it's sold, what it means, the fact that it's not even controlled by man, the fact that it's, you know, it's completely autonomous in many different ways. And people want to compare XRP with Bitcoin. They're not the same. They're not even similar. And the public, Joe Public, is going to be expected to rule on this. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't even know how, if it went to trial, how would you select a jury? I mean, wow, because it's such new technology to the general public. It's going to be tricky.
6 people from the military. Okay.
Yeah.
We won't go there. Let's go to the next witness. Any questions about Yesha? I know I've really truncated this. I spent the time to try and get it down so I wasn't wading through all my highlights and everything for you guys. Last week I didn't have an opportunity to do that. Allan Ferrell, he's a very big witness. And he, by the way, Yesha, I was going to say if they countered the Allan Ferrell counters one of their experts, expert number 3. It's hard.
Keep going.
Okay. Not sure. Allan Ferrell. So I'll have to go back, but some of these experts challenge the SEC experts. So when I say about trial, again, when you have, this is how I'll explain it. You've got defense, you've got SEC witnesses coming to court saying their expert looked at the traffic light and said the traffic light was green for 5 seconds. And then you've got defense expert coming in and saying, no, wait a second. The light was red for 2 seconds before the accident. And that was the analysis I did on this sheet. And so that was interesting on Allan Ferrell, who is an economist and professor of securities law at Harvard Law School. So again, not a slouch intellectually. And his opinions are so very interesting on Allan. He challenges expert number 3. And I'll tell you about expert number 3. You won't remember him. Maybe you will. He was the guy about the trading activities and the sales practices and incentives. And sorry, when I say the number of experts, those are the redacted names for the SEC. I can't say their names because I don't know their names. But they, meaning Ripple, really tried to keep out expert number 3 by either bringing in witnesses or challenging them. But Allan Ferrell challenges expert number 3 in one part of his opinion and then brings separate opinions elsewhere. So with respect to Allan, they tried to bring him in to challenge expert number 3's opinions by arguing that expert number 3's methodology was flawed. Okay. And that did not fly. She would not allow him to do that. She said,
She threw all that out, right?
not all of it. She said that several of expert number 3's opinions are irrelevant to whether the economic substance of XRP or defendants' offers and sales of XRP constitute an investment contract.
She threw that out.
Not letting him come in and say that. And she's not letting him come in and say that he believes expert number 3's contentions that defendants executed sales in a manner designed to positively influence XRP's price are not relevant to determining whether the economic substance of defendants' offers and sales of XRP constitute an investment contract. And she's right on this. Not to say the court is right on this, I'm sorry, because the experts aren't there to say what's relevant or not. That's the court's function. And so he was coming in to say, second opinion, something about expert number 3 wasn't relevant, and then something about another opinion wasn't relevant. So the court is correct on that. That would be improper expert witness opinion. And then, but she did say the balance of his opinions properly fall within the scope of rebuttal to the opinions of expert number 3 because he criticizes number 3's methodology. And because I truncated this so much, I cut out the opinions that he's allowed to bring in, which is, wow, this is so small. From an economic perspective, none of Ripple's contracts for the distribution of XRP entitle XRP holders to a share of Ripple's profits or require Ripple to expend efforts to increase the price of XRP. I have a little star by that because I thought, well, that's really important. That's what everybody talks about, right? Because it's making it not a contract where we're trying to support Ripple and then Ripple's going to pay us a pool of money from the proceeds. And then Ripple's efforts did not impact the long run XRP price. So purchasers of XRP can have a reasonable expectation of profits from Ripple's efforts. Oh, I bet you I know where this is. My chart is.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Sorry, his supplementary report argues that the methodology and he challenges expert number 5 as well. So he challenges the methodology in expert number 5's supplemental report, saying it's flawed, saying that his results are inconsistent with the evidence, challenges SEC's number 5's use of an event study, identifies a flawed premise in expert number 5's report that casts doubt on both the report and the expert's expertise, and Ferrell directly challenges expert number 5's but-for price methodology and relies on his own factor model from his opening report to support his arguments against expert number 5. And then, well, the way I did this wasn't that great. Oh, no, and then again, he's got Ripple's XRP distributions aided Ripple's global financial settlement solutions such as ODL. You guys love that whole ODL thing, but did not have a statistically significant effect on XRP's price. And from an economic perspective, XRP is properly viewed as a virtual currency. And the SEC tried to get that opinion out, pretty much tried to wipe out Ferrell. The SEC challenges Ferrell re ODL with expert number 1, and the SEC challenged certain Ferrell's opinions with respect. Right. So that's that. And then again, back to the trial language from Ferrell. She said 3 separate paragraphs she has with 3 separate types of opinions and rulings saying that this whole thing about this model, that the SEC is welcome to challenge Ferrell's interpretation of his results, including by asking whether his model allows for other factors to explain the price return of XRP. But those are properly issues for the trier of fact. Trier of fact, that means a jury, okay, not the court. For the trier of fact, not the court to resolve. And again, proper challenges to his opinions that may be raised before the fact finder speaks to weight of his opinions, not admissibility. And the fourth
Long
opinion, the criticisms about methodological choices. Again, SEC, these critiques, Ferrell's opinion, it goes to weight, not admissibility, i.e. another jury decision. Criticisms by SECs involve disagreements about Ferrell's opinions. Disagreements means disputed, right? And we learn a motion for summary judgment is when things are undisputed and the judge can just pile them into cases and figure out what should be done. Again, wait. So again, she's saying expert number 3, 5, and Ferrell and a bunch of other witnesses, that all needs to be sorted out in front of a jury. So again, I thought that was interesting. Now, whether she's just using that language, because that's the language in the cases, I don't know. But it seems to be repeated.
Somebody asked about the Hinman. Do you think it's going to affect the opinion of a settlement more likely?
Well, I haven't even seen the Hinman emails.
No, I don't think any of us have we?
So I don't know.
Gary Gensler has.
How would I make that determination whether it would make settlement more likely?
Right, but earlier you had mentioned that you didn't think they were so significant because they were public record, and you thought she let them in casually.
No, I didn't say they weren't significant. I never said that.
Oh.
I said that I read the opinion differently than everybody. Everyone said, well, this means that the fair notice defense is going to trial, or this means that the SEC is going to be all worried and everything, or this means that, we're going to win on summary judgment. And I just said, I just think the order reads that the judge found as a matter of law that they're not properly sealed documents. They should be, the public is supposed to have access to courtrooms.
That's what you said. That's right.
And dockets and files. Like if you walk down to the courtroom and ask for a case file, you're supposed to be given access unless it's been sealed. For instance, a juvenile, the record of a juvenile in criminal court, their version of criminal court, you can't go and look at that. A record of a family court case involving children, you can't look at that. But if you go down there and look at any Joe Schmo lawsuit against the city of Trip and Fall, you can open that thing and you can look at it. It's public access. And I think that's what, I don't know, was my takeaway. Maybe it's too unnuanced or something, and I don't know enough about it, but that's how I read her order.
Hi, MC and Mark Smithson. 130,000 XRP is probably enough. Although I wouldn't post that probably too many.
He doesn't have it. He's just dreaming about it.
Oh yeah. But okay. When people ask me that question, you know what the answer to that is? How long do you have? How old are you? If you're 80, you probably need more than that.
Cryptological.
I'm guessing.
If we go farther, I'm going to do the timestamps so you can just jump to whatever you want to jump to after.
Yeah. Cryptological. Yeah. Good night. Have a good night. Uphold. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. He did say, I said that at the beginning, it'd be shocking and all this stuff. I'm like, well, I just after 25 years, I'm not really shocked by much, and I'm not very, I'm not sensational. So I don't know. Maybe it will shock me, but maybe it won't.
Yeah.
Basically told the parties you're not going to like my ruling. Ripple, you did some sales here that are questionable.
If you're 21 years old and you have 130,000 XRP, your future is very bright. Very bright, young man.
Any SEC trolls in the chat? Maybe, you never know. But I spoke nice about the SEC, so that was good. Carol Osler, next witness. I'm going to try and get through these by the
okay, guys.
30 mark.
We have 107 people in, and we have 115 likes.
Well, some people left.
I know, I'm kidding. I thought it's a pretty good average, though.
Oh, it's great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Perhaps shocking was a reference to SEC's mandate. I don't know what that is. Okay. I'm going to try and get through these. Carol Osler.
It was, I believe.
She's a professor at the International Business School of Brandeis University. I think Brandeis is also another one that I didn't go to. I'll tell you that much. When she researches currency markets and exchange rates, She previously served as a research economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And she's got a bunch of topics. I can't read this small print. Holy crap. That is bad. Carol Osler, her opening report is that XRP fits the economic definition of a currency. So again, a good expert for them because it has the functions and attributes commonly assigned to currencies by experts. ODL, second to ODL, which relies on the XRP ledger and uses XRP as a bridge currency, presents an economically sound option for making cross-border and cross-currency payments, something that we always hear them touting as a positive. And SEC rebuts Osler with expert number 1. But going back, Osler, I think, goes against their expert. Sorry, I don't have this. It's not perfect system that I have here, but I think she has a. I thought she was. Oh, here she is. Expert number 1, Carol Osler. Her rebuttal report. The SEC did not object to her rebuttal report, and I had a little note that one of those little rabbit holes. I was like, need to review her report to see why. That always gives me pause. Why didn't they object? You object to everything.
That is interesting because ODL is, as everybody in this chat knows, ODL is huge. That's the whole enchilada, if you ask me. I mean, on-demand liquidity is the key to the future of our economic monetary system, period. The whole reason for the Federal Reserve to exist is liquidity, okay? To slow it down, speed it up. Well, when we go to a fair and autonomous digital system to where it's on a decentralized, okay, platform of any kind, blockchain, we set the rates. The needs and desire of the people set the rates, not manipulating it with a bunch of bankers and lawyers who are sitting around telling each other how great they are and skimming off the top. When we allow this system to its liquidity to adjust to where it's needed and balanced system. And that's my whole passion in life. For the rest of my life, I hope we have a fair crypto blockchain decentralized system. That would make me very happy on my dying day. I can tell you that. Also, I want to answer one other quick thing down here. Anyway, whatever. We have not enabled a super chat, I don't believe.
We don't know how to do it. We'll just do it on Patreon. It'll be really.
We're gonna go Patreon, guys, real soon next week or whatever. Don't fret. It's gonna be very inexpensive, and
it's just gonna be kind of a donation based thing.
We're just able to say more there. I'm always biting my tongue if you watch my videos.
Okay, so
I'm not a cursor. I don't use cuss words typically, so that not for that reason, but for the things I want to say, I won't typically use their names probably, but I'll tell you the companies they own, that kind of thing. But I can't, I like my neck where it is.
Carol Osler, again, the judge mentioned the trial comments with her opinions about whether something's a currency. And the SEC's criticisms about others of her opinion, she said, speaks to weight of her testimony, don't warrant excluding it, speaks to the way fact finder should afford Osler's testimony, the weight they feel appropriate, they fall within the purview of the fact finder. Again, I don't know why. Is she using that because that's case law and that's how you say stuff when you're making decisions on these motions, or is she saying it like hint, hint, we're going to trial on this particular element? Then we're going to move to, I'm getting there. We're on number 8. There's only 10 and the number 10 is mooted. So by the fact that the SEC wasn't allowed to bring in their something, I'll get to it in a second. Daniel Fischel, is SCH. Defendants offer the testimony of Daniel Fischel, the president. Interesting name though, right? Fischel, the play on words. The president of a litigation consulting firm and the former dean of the University of Chicago. Again, not places that I was permitted to attend. He's a rebuttal expert to number 5. So again, number 5 was big, and they were trying to get rid of 5 a lot. Remember 5? They did the event study, the price movements, the Ethereum Bitcoin thing, the 40% price movements, and some other stuff. So Ripple really tried to get rid of expert number 5. Daniel Fischel said that I want to go to, well, I'll have to go to this one. The rebuttal report to expert 5 says that the analysis is fundamentally flawed for the following reasons. She let in 2 things that he can say. There's probably more, but these things are hundreds of pages, but these specifically I realize relate to what the parties were challenging. So it really is very truncated because these expert witnesses, there's some that they didn't challenge, and then there's more pages. It's probably 1,000 pages of expert witness reports condensed into this little chart here. But expert number 5 misrepresents his own findings by failing to recognize that many of the announcement that he finds to be statistically significant are confounded. Expert number 5 fails to appreciate the significance of his own admission that XRP did not trade in an efficient manner. Fischel may properly rebut expert number 5's testimony by critiquing his methodology and use of event studies, but Fischel may not expand his rebuttal testimony to opine on why expert number 5's analysis and testimony do not satisfy Howey's expectations of profits and common enterprise prongs, particularly where expert number 5 does not at any point in his report mention Howey or reference either prong. And again, the court is correct here. You can't bring an expert in to start interpreting the cases. That's the court's role. And then Fischel, I think that's it for Fischel. Really trying hard to get rid of 1, 5, and 3. I don't know if you guys are taking notes, but
yeah, they really don't like 3.
Number 9, final witness. There is number 10 that they challenge, but I think there's others. I'm very tempted to go and try and find those, but oh my God, hundreds of reading pages. Laurentius.
Hang on one second. Let's take a break real quick on that. A couple of questions. Thanks, Landon. Yes, he was chilling with me by the pool. He kind of knows why we're doing what we're doing. Crypto AI win Staple Crew merch. We don't have any merch, but one day maybe. Hey, you never know. This is our hat. This is our Themis Farms. Nobody can ever read the farms. This is my favorite hat. We created the logo. Just a background story. She's an attorney, obviously, and the lady is Themis. Okay, who's the lady with the blindfold and the scales? Okay. I worked on a yacht for a very famous lawyer by the name of Ron Motley, an amazing, brilliant man, and many, many stories about Ron and what he was achieving in his life will be in my Patreon with my son. And that boat is it was a big yacht. He was a very famous guy. And so we had that in common, Themis. And so Elizabeth came up with it, I believe. I don't know. Or maybe her sister.
No,
I don't remember. Anyway, it was good fun.
You had the Themis boat. I had the Themis.
Yeah.
I was the lawyer.
Yeah. But I want to make a Staple Crew hat. But every time I show the logo to everybody, they're like, yeah, no, not that one. So I don't know.
Okay, last witness. Laurentius Marais. He or she, I can't remember. Oh, you wanted the credentials. I'm going to do the credentials. He asked for the credentials. offer the testimony of the executive vice president of a litigation consulting firm, PhD, master's degree in business administration, mathematics, statistics, extensive experience applying mathematical and statistical theory, so on and so on. He's challenging number 5. He's a rebuttal to number 5, and he discusses the method. This is all coming in. Discusses the methodological flaws in expert number 5's event study and but-for price calculation. I had some confusion on this. She said he can't do the causation, I think. My notes, I did a cut and paste thing and it got bumped. So this may be slightly inaccurate, but listen to the final ruling to understand this. The analysis is a proper rebuttal testimony that explains to a fact finder why expert number 5 cannot opine about causation. So expert number 5 cannot opine about causation, about the price thing. Reports speak to his opinion. Marais says reports speak to his opinion that neither expert number 5's event study nor his but-for pricing methodology can prove that Ripple's actions caused XRP's price to increase. Remember that whole thing they had? They're using that influence of price and it rose and we all had these expectations and stuff like that.
And the thing that you and I know about cryptocurrency that, again, maybe the jury might not know is they're saying that Ripple did some stuff that made Ripple XRP price go up. Well, the bottom line is, especially back when this case was filed, all you have to do is look at every time the market went up, every cryptocurrency went up exactly the same on the chart. Like exactly, no matter what your news was, it was weird. Like everything followed Bitcoin almost identically. And they're trying to say, oh, well, they said some really good stuff about, XRP and it made the price go up.
Yeah.
Come
the
on.
Price go up. Okay.
Today, they're more independent than they've ever been. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I'm a trader, so I kind of watch the charts a little bit more, but the coins move more independently than they've ever done before, in my opinion. In particular, Ripple or XRP in the last few days has been moving up.
You used to move in tandem. Everything moved.
Everything moved identical at the same hour in the middle of the night. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Everybody sold all at the same time.
And you might as well just buy one currency. That's what I was thinking back then.
Yeah. But now they're a lot more independent than they used to be.
Brad Sherman. That's one of the questions that I had is I think these are I'm just dealing with the order that the parties came in and say, I object to this witness. I object to that witness. So my question is, I want to see if there's more witnesses that they just said, okay, fine, you're bringing that expert and this expert, and they didn't have any objection to them. So maybe somebody named Brad Sherman is an expert. But his rebuttal, Marais's rebuttal report highlights confounding factors that expert number 5 does not consider in his event study and examines several trading days where unusual XRP price returns were not associated with Ripple news. And he also opines that because expert number 5 did not consider these confounding factors, he cannot opine that Ripple news caused the changes in XRP's price. So a big deal on that whole causation testimony. And the judge is letting him come in and challenge number 5 on that. But there's something about it that's not coming in or is coming in. And then with Laurentius Marais, again, she was using this trier of fact type language, this fact finder type language, and that she said Marais's analysis is proper rebuttal testimony that explains to a fact finder, that's not the court, why expert number 5 cannot opine about causation. Seems to be a big deal. And then the alleged inconsistency between an expert's opinions is not ground for excluding their testimony, and the SEC may argue before a jury that Marais's testimony actually supports its case. So everybody's got their bone to pick in some way with these experts. The last expert isn't coming in. It's mooted by the fact that the Ripple won the argument to keep out some information. And let's highlight that because that was, the reasonable purchasers expert. Remember that guy from the SEC's experts, that was out. They couldn't bring the reasonable XRP purchaser because they didn't talk to us about it. Now there is some investment purchasers, the post-secondary thing that everybody talks about, but I don't know.
Secondary market. Yeah.
We have finished the expert witnesses. If you guys want to chime in, I did it in under 129, including Allan's 2 cents.
She beat an hour and a half.
But it does help to make the outlines for sure. And I really like that a lot.
Landon, yes, I would love to work with your daughter one day. We are going to make that happen. We have a lot on our plate right now, and I'm getting into boating season, and I'm just going to be slammed this summer with boating. We have a full schedule, charter schedule going on. So I want to do something with her. I know my son's going to want to do something with her because he's a lot more creative when it comes to film and those kind of things. I also have another opportunity for her in the future. So we'll stay in touch. You have my text. So, just we'll stay in touch. Don't worry about it. But I have another person in the group who's actually wanting to make a more professional, commercialized, if you will, a YouTube channel. And that's a possibility as well.
We need to be way more professional.
No, we don't. I love the casual thing personally, but
I like the casual
thing. A lot of people do. A lot of people. You know what I just noticed? We wore the same color shirt. We did not plan that at all.
I'll wear a t-shirt to my Zoom hearing. Very professional. I'm definitely not hireable by the SEC. But
how long? Oh, Jim White. Wow. That's a tough one, buddy.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we've been we're slowly trying to unravel that rather than saying, 6 months or 2 months or 1 month. But I had this idea, and I don't remember it now, but I had this instinct about what the court might do because there's all these other rulings. They're really relying on the Kick lawsuit and the LBRY lawsuit. So I might want to go there. I might want to go to the Coinbase next. I might want to go back to the motions for summary judgment. A lot of questions about the fair notice defense. I have some, I don't know, kind of not echo chamber type impressions by that. I'm not going to echo the community on that. I don't think that might be a buzzkill. So we might not go there.
Chef Crypto, we love you too, brother. Good night.
Yeah, everybody, thank you so much. So I'll pick something juicy for next week.
Yes.
And try to again do charts because it's better for you guys. So I'm not wading through papers.
Again, I've heard this question a few times too.
Bruno.
All right. People keep asking about the CBDC. All these CBDCs are going to be individual countries. That's going to be their own little currencies. And if you've heard my show enough, I don't think they're going to succeed. Number one, most countries aren't going to believe in it. And most people, by the time they lose the old paper money, the people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, what is this thing? My guess, I don't know. I think many countries, depending on the psyche of the people and what faith they have in their governments, that will change a lot when it comes to who believes in them and who doesn't. Okay. This country, I don't think has any chance of any more than 20% of the population believing in them. That's my opinion. We already have states coming out saying, no, not in my state. Let's see. Florida comes to mind, obviously.
Last 2 minutes. Allan, could you please repeat your WEF answer?
Oh, sorry, guys. All right. People keep asking about the CBDC. What I have for you on that is every country is going to have their own coin. They will try and make them interchangeable between nation to nation state. I get that. They're not going to work like that. I don't believe. I've heard from a few people. I got a guy at JP Morgan that's actually been working on this for quite some time, and he claims it's not going to happen at all, but he doesn't know. Okay. It's not his job to say, yes, this in all these different countries. But it depends a lot on the psyche of the people of the nation. Some people, the whole nation.
Something's wrong with her microphone.
She took it off.
No, I just put it down here.
Some people in nations are completely, I'll call it brainwashed, or convinced that their government is on their side and they're only taking care of them. Each nation will have a different percentage. The one percentage that I want everybody to think about is the percentage of China. China is less than 5% use the CBDC coin. And they've had it for what, a year and a half? Just think about that. Less than 5% use that coin or that token. We're not going to just jump in.
We're going in and out according to Mark.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why your internet's going in and out, guys.
It's this one Starlink. Thanks, Elon, right? But anyway, It does come every hour or something. It cycles. And so
we live out in the sticks.
We live out in the sticks.
So you know what I mean? But yeah, Bruno made an appearance.
I had to get the Bruno for one of the listeners.
Sound is a 10 out of 10. Okay. Well, I only asked 5 by 5, but if you're giving me 10s.
All right. So there's, like I said, we could do the 13-hour Joey Ingram poker analysis of the Robbie Jack forehand, or we can end it and come back next week.
Jenna, I totally agree. The Fed now will flop, guys. That thing, I have heard from numerous people, that thing has no chance technologically to succeed. This is what I'm hearing, but I don't know. I didn't create it. I'm not behind the software of it.
So next week, I'll come up with something fun to do to unpack the case more. I wouldn't think we would see a ruling on the motion for summary judgment before the drama with the Hinman emails, but I don't know. I mean, Deaton says it could be any day regardless. I don't know. I think you should defer to a lot of people that have been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah. FedNow is also associated with Signet. They bounced all over the place and they can't seem to get a great product going. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I've heard no good things. And anytime a government tries to tackle software on their own, well, we remember the Obamacare.
Chris, you asked that question above, and I'm sorry. So we kind of went through that I went through it last week to say kind of flowcharty, like, look, if she rules partially for this issue, says jury trial on that issue, outright win on this issue. So unless somebody outright wins, there's no appeal, but the parties have to come in. Then if there's going to be a trial, the parties have to come in and ask for a trial date to be scheduled. And then that depends on priority and all that stuff. So I went through that last week. It's time stamped there for you. You could get to it probably easily. It's maybe 20 minutes. We went back and forth as we kind of do.
So the light in the background's a problem, guys?
Oh, you don't love my light? I wonder if my commissioners love my light.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, right. Red. Yeah, exactly. Obamacare, that flopped, you know.
And I keep trying, Chris, I keep trying to analyze to let you guys know, well, like, when should it be? But remember, nothing I say, even if I read it straight from the court's paperwork or whatever, or some party's paperwork, you should not make any decisions to buy or sell XRP based on what I say. I am not here to influence the price of XRP, period.
Right. That's my job to guess a lot. Okay. So that's what I'll be doing. I'm not even a predictor guy. I notice it goes out of focus when you
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What else were we going to cover?
We're going to not cover anything else. We're going to wrap it up and save something for next week.
Yeah, Elizabeth's making cookies tonight.
I make cookies. They're already burnt.
She's smart. She's beautiful. She makes cookies. I mean, I don't know, guys. What are you thinking? I did pretty good, I'd say.
If you guys tune in later as well, send, whatever the hot topic is, but I keep trying to find it. I got like a million things. So
AZ, love you too, brother or sister.
Predictions are for clickbait. Yeah. And I
Right.
know that clickbait would get us a lot of viewers, but I'm not really a lot of you. Like I got Crypto Aria reprinting my stuff, and I was like, Allan, I gotta stop. I don't think I can. I don't want to do that. But
yeah,
that's okay.
If those of you watch my show, and most of you probably do, I'm not a prediction guy. I they make you look like fools, but I do like to follow the ball and kind of not predict, but we can all build a story and assume where it might be going. That doesn't mean it'll go there, but we can build a case and we can try and inform ourselves. Case maybe the not right word in this situation, as to where the world is going, where it's geopolitically going, and banking and central banking systems, and what they want to achieve, and we can kind of maybe figure out where that all heads.
But
maybe
it does
not
look like they're chasing everybody out of the U.S.
I have a whole show I could do on that, guys, because it's not just happening in the U.S. There's so much going on in China right now. There's so much going on in India, and India seems to be adopting more of it. China's pushing people out in ways that are completely different than they did even 2 months ago. And that's all related to banking, and it's all related to keeping the money home. Okay. We're going into an era where everybody wants to hold their cash. The euro wants to keep it in Europe, and US wants to keep it in US. And that's happening big time right now. And I will tell you why. It's happening because people understand that the music's about to stop in a lot of ways economically, and they want to be secure in their own nation, and they want to be set. And one of the things about this country that the US, that Elizabeth and I currently live in, we've lived in many countries, but this is our country now. This country is not just pushing crypto out. This country has a war going on at the banking level, and it's more obvious than it's ever been before. So I could go on about that all night, but that's the kind of conversations that I'm going to have with Brent. So he's into it and I'm into it, and we're going to get deep. But again, we need to get going.
I'm just here to dissect the legal. I wanted to give you guys a non-echo chamber style, non-hype, slightly try read the tea leaves but using, objective stuff to the best of my ability. And if you don't like that, go to the horoscope of Judge Torres, Scorpio, Pig.
Alchemist, I love your texts. Those are awesome. You clearly are an intelligent individual. Whiskey Tango, thanks for being in the house. Who is that? Norpheus. Hello. Hello to you too, as well.
Mama Key, Mama Lacey. He'll probably talk about Ledger, but in his show, in his separate show. Yeah. We don't want to try to not clutter it too much, but some people.
Becky.
I don't know anything about Ledger.
Love you, girl.
Love you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for everything, you guys. Super Dave in the house, even.
Super Dave.
Okay, guys, we need to get going with cookies tonight.
I gotta finish.
It's probably late where you are too. So
okay.
Everybody have a great night. I'm going to bring
much.
Elizabeth back probably next week, midweek, Wednesday, Thursday. We hope. All right. Think about your questions. Hopefully we got to some of them.
Yeah, I hope so. All right. Too. Yeah, questions. Thanks, you guys.
Love you guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.